and perfect. Maybe we should call the roll.
Sure. As a reminder, we are live streaming and recording this meeting. Both of those have already started. Cindy Butts.
Here.
Wendy Clark. Heidi DeWeingart.
Here.
Claudio Gualtieri.
Here.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno.
Here.
Matt Puglisi.
Came in just in time.
Perfect timing. Lisa Tepper Bates.
Here.
Greg Ugalde. We do have a quorum in attendance for the meeting.
Okay. I don't think Greg's ever missed a meeting.
He may be just switching over. I know
Yeah.
we just had another meeting. He was in.
Okay.
He was at the task force.
Okay. Great. All right. So today we have a relatively short agenda. Starting the first resolution is regarding financing of the Waltersville Commons, which is in Bridgeport, to be presented by Liz.
Hi, everyone. Waltersville Commons, this is a historic school in Bridgeport, but it's currently vacant, run down, and it's an eyesore. It's located in a residential neighborhood designated a transit-oriented development near downtown. It's got a number of bus stops and interstate highways. There's a bodega on the corner and there's on-street parking. Seems like a very good location. And the GOT renovation will result in 70 income-restricted housing units, all under 80% AMI. So it's going to be a lovely improvement when it's done. The developer is new to Connecticut, but he has LIHTC experience in New York, primarily in the New York City area. And he's supported by a strong team in Connecticut, Millennium Realty, Paul Bailey Architects, and Haynes Construction, all of whom have considerable experience and success with CHFA projects. The building and the property have significant environmental issues. The exact cleanup method and cost is still being determined. Offsetting that unknown though, the project has received a grant from Connecticut Healthy Homes relating to the cleanup of lead. It's administered by the Connecticut Children's Hospital, and the grant amount could be as much as $30,000 a unit. This is relatively new information, so the developer is working with the grant administrator to determine the full amount of funding that this project will receive. And those costs and funding will be fully resolved prior to closing. The project is receiving funds from a number of sources, state and federal historic tax credits, as well as the low-income housing tax credits. CHFA will be providing the construction loan, the construction to perm loan, and affordable housing funds. DOH is providing over $7 million. The city of Bridgeport has committed to $2.7 million in ARPA funds. And for those funds, they are requiring 9 units be designated as supportive housing units. We just learned from the city the actual number of supporting housing units they want. So the discussions regarding the service provider costs and the project-based vouchers to support those units are also in the early stages. So there are a few open items, and I want to reiterate that any and all open items, including those open items for ACS, formerly known as TEC, will be addressed to our satisfaction before we close this loan. Any questions?
Yes, so what happens with the environmental cleanup contingency amount? I know we always try to acknowledge what worst case could look like, but what parameters do we have up until closing to just look at what the end result is going to cost?
I think maybe ACS can better explain, but I think right now they're looking at $2.5 million, and that is in the budget. They also have a little bit for environmental reports, just under $200,000. And again, they are going to get money from Connecticut Healthy Homes, which could be in the amount of $2.1 million. So
what's the contaminant? What are we?
There is asbestos.
This is an old school.
Yeah.
Lead and asbestos, I think, is
lead paint.
lead and asbestos, yeah. So, and Greg, the department is working with DPH, which is the Department of Public Health, and the program is being run by the Children's Hospital. And we're all in this project together. So if there is any gap, then the department will cover that gap.
Yeah, and then Greg, in terms of talking, in terms of your question about contingency, since this is all part of the hard cost, that's included in the hard cost contingency. So there's a portion of the hard cost contingency that's associated with this environmental cleanup, and the construction contingency right now is $2.6 million in total.
Which, I don't know, does that sound like a lot or a little? It depends.
It's almost 10% of the hard cost. It's a pretty
That's
hefty.
pretty substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty hefty, and they've done a tremendous amount of inspection analysis of the mitigation that needs to be done. This mitigation has been around for a long time. This is a city-owned property that's being sold, and
But it hasn't been mitigated yet.
it has not been mitigated yet.
They've just identified it. What do we know about the developer? It's new, out of the area, their normal area.
Yeah,
Do you know him?
the developer is new, but
Yeah.
all the contractor's not new.
I see Haynes is.
Yeah,
we
they're
know.
going to be doing the remediation. So the architect is Paul Bailey, who's been involved in a tremendous number of our deals, and then Bruce Whitaker over at Millennium is essentially the project manager. Will be the property manager, but he's also been participating as a consultant at this point. So, and we do know that the developers have experience in New York. I think it's mostly in New York City, Liz.
Mhm, the
Right.
boroughs, yep.
With the development of LIHTC properties.
We looked into their background in terms of what they were producing in New York, and they have a track record of completing, projects and developments under the program. They have looked at various projects in Connecticut previously, but this is the first one that they've actually contracted as developer, and they, like others, are looking to expand from New York into Connecticut.
Yeah.
So I think we have a comfort level with the developers themselves with respect to the environmental budget. The licensed environmental professionals are still working through that scope. We're looking for them to push the number down. I think they were initially intimidated by, the condition of an idle property. But as they've gotten into it, they've been able to refine their scope and improve the cost. So we're going to continue to work with them to do that.
Well, the location and all the other attributes, I mean, the rendering is beautiful. So if they can pull this off, it's a great project, I think.
Indeed.
Any other questions? Comments?
I just want to thank the team on this. This is I think, a very good example of the kind of project that might be intimidating to the market to take on, but is so important to the community in terms of the value it brings in a place like Bridgeport that has so many properties like this that hurt the neighborhoods and hurt the value of other properties in the city. So thanks. And Joe, you were always very thorough. So when you started talking about looking into this developer, I think we have no doubt that you would have done your research on that. Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa. Anybody else? Any comments? Concerns? What is your concern on this project, Liz? If you had to pick something that you're worried about, what is it?
They have an 18-month construction period that I've asked them about, and they keep saying they can do it in 18 months. So that's the one thing I'm concerned about.
So you think it'll take longer?
I do.
Yeah, there always is in rehabs. There's always some unknown, right?
Yep.
Okay.
But we usually build flexibility, right, into the
Yep.
structure that we create on the other side to finance these deals.
Yeah, we'll work with.
So.
Yeah, we have the ability to extend the construction period if need be.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other comments? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
I can
Thank you.
second.
Okay, thanks, Sayla. Okay, Dawn?
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Next up on the agenda is the modified financing of Deerfield Village at East Lyme, also to be presented by Liz.
This is a simple maturity extension request. Deerfield Village is a 100-unit, 2-bedroom, 1-bath community in East Lyme. It was constructed in 1991 and it has been maintained, but it's getting in need of capital expenditures. It's located right off like I-95 and Route 1, but you turn up the road and the property is on a hill in a very rural setting. So it's well located and well maintained. It was acquired by the current owner in June of 1995. And this owner has extensive LIHTC experience, again in New York. This is their only Connecticut property. There are 3 loans on this property. As you can see, one is fully amortizing in May, and the 2 deferred loans also mature in May. Now, the owner is currently working toward retirement, estate planning, and wants to exit this ownership. So a change in ownership is in process, along with a restructure, resyndication. He originally asked us for a 30-year deferral of these loans. We agreed to a 5-year maturity extension to give them time to structure the new ownership resyndication. And in exchange for the extension, CHFA is going to continue to receive the $8,714 a month. We're going to apply that to loan N, and we'll continue to receive the cash flow payments on both loans. So we'll continue to get the same amount of money that we are now. And during the extension period, we will work with the borrower to structure a new syndication, and he plans on using 4% LIHTC financing. Any questions?
So he has identified a buyer?
It's a related entity.
Yeah, we've had conversations with,
So why do it for 5 years? Why not 2? Or
they want to put together the whole, they want to take the time to put together the whole 4% application. So that just, our expectation is that this will happen well before the 5 years, but we wanted to afford them enough time to put this all together.
okay. Anybody else? Any comments? The project's fully occupied.
It's very well maintained, yes,
Yeah,
and
it looks
well
nice.
run. They seemed the few tenants I met seemed very delighted, happy with their situation.
So we think it's going to happen because it's a related party that's buying it. It's just they have to figure out the logistics and the inheritance or whatever, the estate planning part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that-
the 2 deferred loans we have on the property are pretty much going to ensure that they have to come to us for financing. So we're not concerned that they're going to be able to finance this out of affordability. Not even sure that that's the best financing structure for them. I think the 4% is the best any incoming buyer is going to be the most beneficial.
Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the modification?
I'll make the motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, thanks. Dawn?
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, the only other thing I have is the minutes from our mortgage meeting, which was on January 28th. Anybody, I had no changes or comments. Anybody have anything? No, do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion.
Thank
Cindy.
you. Yep. Anybody second?
Second.
Thanks, Greg. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Anything else? Anybody have anything they want to add? No? All right, short and sweet.
So
Yeah.
I will tell you real quick though, so I'm in Las Vegas at the International Builders Show. We're gonna have 120,000 people seeing 1.2 million square feet of exhibits. And we just finished our few days of leadership meetings, and now the place is a mob scene with everybody coming in. But it's very good. And a lot of things we talked about at QAP, and I really learned a lot from that meeting. But all those types of things are being discussed here and looked at. So I think that there's going to be a lot brought to the marketplace to address some of our pricing concerns and just different ways to address it, because we're not the only state, obviously, that's faced with these challenges. So hope to bring back some good information.
Yeah,
Please do.
wasn't I supposed to go to that too?
Yes, you are, by the way. In fact, we have a meeting today to talk about when you're coming out.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Well, how
yeah,
about
we're
the
gonna
winter,
drag you out
right?
here.
we put Greg on the agenda next meeting so he can tell us what he learned.
Show you pictures and stuff.
Right, there you go. Only if you win money do we want to see
Right,
it.
right.
All right, anybody else? All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Nice and
All
short.
right.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.